The horror stories. He says in order to receive government grants and rebates, you have to first have an expert perform an energy audit on your home, and we found an expert to bring into studio this morning. Energy auditor Nishan Shah is with us today to talk about a trouble spot in many homes, the all-important attic. And we took a look at one woman's attic yesterday and some of the trouble spots there. Tell me what the biggest problem that you see across the board in attics.
The biggest thing that I usually see is that the levels of insulation are not sufficient. They're extremely low, and what that does is creates a massive heat loss through the attic, which could cause further damage to shingles, cause ice damming, and those types of issues. So that is the biggest thing that I usually see is not enough insulation in the attic.
Well, and you've brought in a number of examples of insulation. Why don't you tell us about each one that you brought in so we know what we're looking at?
Sure. So this right here, it's called rigid foam board. This is usually used in basement installations, not in attics typically. Then what we have is fiberglass and Roxol. These are still used in attic applications. But what is the most popular insulation right now is called cellulose.
Okay.
It's shredded paper, it's environmentally friendly, and it also keeps animals away. So that is what is usually used nowadays in the attic.
And it's as effective as any of the other types?
It is actually better than any of these installations.
Is it more expensive?
It's not more expensive. Actually, it's cheaper than the other insulation, but gives you a better R value.
And what are we looking at here?
This here is basically called a styro vent. It's used for ventilation in the attic and creates an airflow in the attic, which is extremely important to make sure that you don't have ice damming issues on your roof.
In the case of the attic that you took a look at, or that we had on tape yesterday, what kind of insulation did you find there, and what would have been recommended?
Right now, there's the fiberglass insulation that's in that attic, and what I would recommend is to go to the cellulose and increase it to an R50 level.
And that's worth it then on two fronts, because if you're going to spend the money, which you need to do in order to take out the old insulation, put in the new, because it's going to cost you, you're going to save a certain percentage anyway a year on energy loss.
Yes, you save on, your energy savings is the biggest thing, plus the rebates that are available to you. Usually a payback on an attic insulation job is roughly 3 to 5 years.
And how do you get the rebate? Or
you have to go through the energy audit process. You have to do a pre and a post audit.
So someone like you has to come into the home,
Correct.
sign the papers,
Yep.
and then you can submit for the claim.